Ladies and gentlemen, imagine for a moment that love is not just a feeling, not just chemistry, but a language, one that moves beyond logic, beyond scripted romance, into something far more profound. You see, men, just like women, are wired for connection. But their love isn't always shouted from the rooftops. It's whispered in the spaces between words, encoded in the language of the heart. Today, I want to reveal to you 7 words. Simple, unassuming words that when spoken by a man hold a secret. They tell you that he is not just interested, but that he is madly in love. 1. A man in love is present. His mind is not wandering, distracted, or escaping. When he says, "I'm here," it's not just about location, it's about presence. Love is attention. And when he gives you his fully and completely, you are no longer just part of his life. You become his focus. 2. There is a shift, a turning point, when a man stops thinking in terms of me and starts speaking in us. It means he no longer sees himself as separate, but as part of something greater. Love is not about possession, it's about partnership. And us is the foundation of that. 3. Safe. Men may not always talk about emotions the way women do, but when a man truly loves, he instinctively wants to protect. If he says, "You're safe with me," or "I've got you," it's more than reassurance. It's a subconscious pledge, a declaration of devotion. 4. Trust. Love cannot thrive without trust. A man deeply in love will use this word often, not just in asking for yours, but in giving his. "I trust you" means he is opening his heart, removing the barriers, and allowing vulnerability to take its place. 5. Future. When a man envisions a future with you, he speaks it into existence. "We'll go there one day. Imagine when we..." These phrases are not accidental. They are the markers of a mind that is mapping out a life with you in it. 6. Proud. Not every man says, "I love you" every day, but when he says, "I'm proud of you," or "I'm proud to be with you," he is showing his love through admiration. Love is not just about passion, it's about deep appreciation for who you are. 7. Always. This is the word of commitment, of eternity. "I will always be here. I will always support you." When a man in love says always, he is telling you that you are not just a chapter in his story. You are the story. So the next time you wonder if a man is deeply in love, listen carefully. It's not in grand gestures or rehearsed lines. It's in the everyday words that hold the weight of his heart. Because love, real love, is not just said, it is felt, it is lived, and most importantly, it is spoken in ways we least expect. Men don't always say "I love you" in the way we expect. Their language of love is often subtle, woven into the fabric of everyday conversations, expressed through actions, tones, and carefully chosen words. While women may verbalize feelings openly, men tend to communicate love differently through presence, protection, and the energy behind what they say. It's not that they feel any less deeply, it's that their emotional wiring often compels them to show rather than tell. Love, for many men, is not just a feeling, but a sense of purpose, a drive to create something meaningful. And because of this, their emotions are often embedded in words that don't always sound romantic on the surface. A simple "I got this" can carry more weight than a poetic love letter. A quiet "Are you okay?" in the middle of a busy day can hold more love than a grand declaration. These words are not accidental. They come from a place deep in the subconscious, shaped by past experiences, by what they were taught about love, and by their personal journey of transformation. When a man is truly in love, his words begin to shift. They reflect a sense of responsibility, a need to protect, a desire to be present. His vocabulary may not always be flowery, but his words will have an energy behind them, one that speaks to commitment, security, and a deep emotional bond. If we learn to listen, not just to the words themselves, but to the intention behind them, we begin to see love in a whole new way. Because love is not always in the obvious expressions. It's in the quiet reassurances, the everyday affirmations, and the subtle but powerful ways a man chooses to speak when he has given his heart completely. The words a man speaks when he is in love are not always consciously chosen. They emerge from a deeper place within him. The subconscious mind holds the blueprint of his emotions, shaping his thoughts, behaviors, and language in ways he may not even realize. Love is not just a surface-level experience. It runs through the nervous system, through the energy he carries, and through the words that slip past his lips before he has time to filter them. When a man is deeply connected, his subconscious starts to reveal his emotions in unexpected ways. He may say things that hint at his attachment without directly declaring it. Phrases like, "I was just thinking about you," or "I don't know why, but I feel calm when you're around," are glimpses into his inner world. These words are not rehearsed. They arise naturally, without effort, because his subconscious is guiding the conversation. This is why love can sometimes feel like a mystery, because it isn't just about logic or rational thought, it's about patterns, about past experiences that have wired his brain to respond in certain ways. If he has learned to associate love with protection, he may instinctively use words that express safety and stability. If he has grown up believing that love means deep trust, his words will reflect vulnerability and openness. We often assume that love must be spoken in grand, deliberate ways, but true love reveals itself in the smallest subconscious moments. The way he pauses before answering, the way he repeats certain phrases without realizing it, the way his voice softens when he speaks your name. All of these are signals of a deeper connection. Love isn't just about what is said. It's about what the subconscious allows to slip through the cracks, shaping the reality of the relationship before the conscious mind even catches up. When a man is in love, his presence shifts. He is no longer just physically there, he is fully engaged, fully aware, fully immersed in the moment. Presence is one of the most powerful expressions of love, yet it is often overlooked because it isn't wrapped in poetic words or grand gestures. It is quiet but profound. It is in the way he listens, the way his body leans in when you speak, the way his eyes don't wander even when distractions surround him. Love changes the way a man shows up in his life. When he is deeply connected, his focus narrows. He becomes attuned to the energy of the moment, to the subtle shifts in tone and expression. His words reflect this shift. Instead of absent-minded responses, there is intention in his speech. Instead of hurried conversations, there is a desire to stretch time, to be fully there with you. A man who is present in love does not need to say much. His presence speaks louder than any rehearsed phrase ever could. When he says, "I'm here," it means more than just physical proximity. It is a declaration of commitment, of attention, of a heart that is not elsewhere. He listens not just to respond, but to understand. He notices the little things, not because he is trying to impress, but because he genuinely cares. In a world full of distractions, presence is rare, and yet when a man is truly in love, it becomes his natural state around you. His mind isn't wandering to work, to worries, to obligations. He is here, now, fully with you. And in those moments, love speaks, not in words, but in the undeniable energy of being completely seen, completely valued, and completely chosen. When a man is deeply in love, something fundamental within him awakens, a need to provide security, to protect, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. It's not about dominance or control. It's about ensuring that the person he loves feels safe in his presence, in his words, in the space they share. Love for him is not just about passion, it's about responsibility. He wants to be a source of stability, someone you can lean on when the world feels unsteady. This instinct is reflected in the words he chooses. He might say, "I've got you," or "You don't have to worry about that," without even realizing that what he's really saying is, "I will keep you safe." These are not empty promises. When love is real, these words carry weight. They are backed by action, by a deep-rooted commitment to being a steady presence in your life. Protection doesn't always look the way we expect. It's not just about standing between you and danger. It's about the way he defends your name when you're not around, the way he reassures you when doubt creeps in, the way he creates a space where you can be vulnerable without fear. His love is not just in what he gives, but in what he shields you from: stress, uncertainty, loneliness. A man in love doesn't just want to be with you, he wants to be someone you trust, someone who makes you feel secure in every sense of the word. It's in the way he says, "Call me when you get home," or "I'm here if you need me." These words, though simple, hold the essence of his devotion. They say, "Your safety matters to me, your peace of mind matters to me, you matter to me." And when a man loves like this, his presence becomes more than companionship, it becomes home. When a man is truly in love, his language begins to shift from the present moment to the future. He no longer speaks only in terms of I and me. He starts weaving we and us into the fabric of his conversations. His words subtly reflect a deeper commitment, a subconscious mapping of a life that includes you. It's not forced or strategic. It's instinctive. Love rewires the way he sees time, and suddenly the future is no longer an abstract concept. It's something he is actively shaping with you in mind. You hear it in the way he talks about plans, even the smallest ones. "We should go there someday. Next time, let's try this. Imagine what it'll be like when." These aren't just passing comments. They are markers of attachment, proof that his mind is naturally placing you in the picture of his life ahead. He is not just thinking about today, he is laying the foundation for tomorrow. Future-focused language isn't always grand or dramatic. It doesn't always come in the form of "I want to marry you" or "I see us growing old together." Sometimes it's as simple as talking about holidays, about where to live, about what kind of life you both want to build. It's in the way he starts considering your opinions on things that affect his long-term path. It's in how he factors you into decisions, big and small, because in his heart, you are no longer separate from where he's going. You are part of the journey itself. This kind of language reveals something powerful, a man who is not just in love but invested. His subconscious is signaling commitment in the most organic way possible by speaking a future into existence, not just for himself, but for both of you. Love is more than words, more than gestures, it is energy. A man who is truly in love speaks a language beyond logic, beyond rehearsed expressions. His words carry a frequency, an emotional charge that you can feel. This is the language of energetic connection, where what he says is not just heard but felt. It's in the way he speaks your name with a softness, the way his tone shifts when he talks to you, the way his voice holds warmth even in silence. There are moments when words don't even need to be spoken, yet the energy of love fills the space between you. A simple "Are you okay?" isn't just a question, it's a vibration of concern, of deep care. A quiet "I'm here" doesn't just mean presence, it means anchoring, grounding, an unspoken promise that you are not alone. When a man loves deeply, his words carry an emotional weight that lingers, resonating long after they are spoken. This connection is not just about verbal communication, it's in the way he mirrors your emotions without realizing it, how he senses your mood before you even say a word, how his energy shifts when he feels you pulling away. A man who is energetically connected to you doesn't just listen to what you say, he tunes into what you don't say. He feels when you need reassurance, when you need space, when you need love in its purest, quietest form. Love at this level is not just about conversation, it is about alignment. It is about the way his words and actions sync with your emotions, how his presence alone can calm a storm inside you. He may not always say, "I love you," in the ways you expect, but every word he does speak, every expression, every vibration of his voice carries the unmistakable energy of a heart that has already chosen you. 7 secret words men use when they're madly in love. Love is often thought of as something grand, something that needs to be declared loudly, shouted from rooftops, written in poetry. But real love, the kind that transforms, the kind that anchors a man's heart, does not always arrive in fireworks. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it speaks in ways so subtle that if you're not paying attention, you might miss it. Men by nature often express love differently. They may not always verbalize emotions in long, flowing sentences, but that does not mean the depth of their love is any less profound. In fact, if you listen closely, you will hear the truth of their hearts in the words they use every day. When a man is madly in love, his language shifts. His words are no longer just about himself. They begin to reflect connection, commitment, and deep emotional presence. He says here, a man in love is not just physically present. He is fully engaged, fully tuned in. His mind is not elsewhere. He is with you in this moment, giving you his attention, his energy, his presence. He says, us. The transformation from I to we is subtle but powerful. It means you are no longer an option, no longer just a chapter. You are part of the story itself. He no longer sees his future as a solo journey. He sees it as something to be shared. He says, safe love in its purest form is protection. Not just physical protection, but emotional safety. The kind that allows you to be yourself without fear, without walls, without hesitation. His instinct is to make sure you feel secure, not just in his arms, but in his heart. He says, trust. When a man loves deeply, he does not just ask for trust, he offers it. He lets down his guard, allows vulnerability to take the place of ego, and builds a foundation of honesty. Love is not just passion. It is the quiet, steady belief that you can rely on someone completely. He says, future. Love rewires the way a man sees time. He begins to speak in plans, in visions, in dreams that extend beyond the present moment, whether he's talking about a trip next summer or something as simple as next weekend. Every time he includes you in what's ahead, he is revealing that he sees you as part of his life's unfolding. He says, proud. A man in love doesn't just admire you, he celebrates you. He takes joy in your victories, supports you in your struggles, and wants the world to know that you are someone he respects, someone he stands beside with pride. And finally, he says, always. This is the word of permanence, of devotion, of certainty. When a man speaks of always, he is not just making a promise. He is expressing a deep, unwavering commitment that exists beyond fleeting emotions, beyond circumstances, beyond time itself. So if you ever wonder how to know if a man is truly, deeply, undeniably in love, listen. Not for the obvious declarations, not for the scripted lines, but for the moments in between, for the way he speaks about you, about the present, about the future, for the way his words carry presence, security, connection, because love is not always spoken in grand confessions. Sometimes it's hidden in the everyday, in the quiet reassurances, in the energy of words that hold more meaning than they seem. Love. Real love is not just said, it is lived, it is felt, and most importantly, it is spoken in ways we least expect.